After John Kong Van Damme, who is the next? Nobody. Why?
Bolo Yeung breaks his silence on the mystery of Bruce Lee's death. After decades of secrecy, he's revealing the hidden truths Hollywood never wanted you to know. What really happened on Bruce's final day, and could the shadow of organized crime have played a role? These shocking revelations from Lee's closest circle might finally uncover the dark forces that shaped his tragic end. Don't miss this explosive story before it's too late. Before exploring the explosive revelations, we must understand the man behind them. Bolo Yeung's fascination with martial arts began in his youth, where he discovered an unwavering passion for physical discipline. This wasn't just any ordinary interest, it was an all-consuming dedication that would shape his entire life. His first major achievement came through bodybuilding, a pursuit where his extraordinary commitment earned him the coveted title of Mr. Hong Kong. This wasn't a fleeting victory. Yeung dominated the scene for an impressive decade, showcasing the relentless determination that would later define his film career. The late 1960s marked Yeung's transition into cinema, perfectly coinciding with Hong Kong's booming film industry. Starting with small, often uncredited roles, Yeung viewed each opportunity not just as a job, but as a stepping stone toward greater heights. His muscular physique and intense screen presence made him a natural choice for villainous roles, a typecasting that many might have resented but which Yeung transformed into his signature strength. Yeung's pivotal moment came with The Heroic Ones, where director Chung Chae cast him as an unyielding warrior. His ability to stand out in a crowded cast caught the attention of industry insiders, leading to roles that emphasized his impressive physical stature and martial arts prowess. On each set, his dedication was evident, as he developed a unique ability to convey complex emotions through minimal dialogue and powerful body language. Who could have predicted that a simple cigarette commercial would bring together two of martial arts cinema's most iconic figures? The Winston cigarette advertisement shoot became the unlikely setting for Yeung's first encounter with Bruce Lee. This meeting would prove transformative, as Lee recognized qualities in Yeung that others had overlooked. Their professional relationship reached its pinnacle with Enter the Dragon, a film that would become a cornerstone of martial arts cinema. Despite their intense on-screen rivalry, Lee and Yeung developed a deep friendship off-camera, with Lee serving as both colleague and mentor. Lee's own journey to stardom was anything but conventional. Born in the United States in 1940, he began his martial arts training at 13 under the legendary Yip Man, studying Wing Chun. His education wasn't limited to physical combat. At the University of Washington, Lee developed his revolutionary martial arts style, Jeet Kune Do, emphasizing practicality and adaptability over rigid traditional forms. His teaching career, beginning in Seattle and expanding to Oakland and Los Angeles, strategically positioned him within Hollywood's orbit.
The tiger that start like a tiger, using claw to claw the face, or the beak of the crane to the eyes move.
While his role as Kato in The Green Hornet showcased his skills, the show's limited run constrained his impact in America. Ironically, it was in Hong Kong where the show made him a star. Though this recognition did little to break down Hollywood's stereotypical casting barriers. Frustrated with limited opportunities in America, Lee returned to Hong Kong, where he quickly landed a starring role in The Big Boss, 1971. The film shattered box office records and established him as a leading figure in Asian cinema. His subsequent films, Fist of Fury and Way of the Dragon, where he served as actor, writer, and director, elevated his status further. Enter the Dragon represented a groundbreaking collaboration between US and Hong Kong film industries. The film's massive success, generating over $200 million globally, should have launched Lee into unprecedented stardom. Instead, it became his final proof to martial arts cinema, as he passed away at just 32 years old. The events of Lee's final day began normally enough. He met with his producer in Hong Kong, discussing his next project, The Game of Death. Later, he visited actress Betty Ting Pei's apartment, where he complained of a headache. a symptom he'd been experiencing alongside seizures recently. Betty offered him a pill containing a tranquilizer for relief. What was intended as a short rest became eternal silence. When Lee didn't wake for dinner, Betty's attempts to rouse him failed. Despite rushed efforts to save him at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Bruce Lee was pronounced dead. The official cause of death was listed as acute cerebral edema, severe brain swelling. This condition, doctors explained, resulted from an adverse reaction to the medication's ingredients, particularly the tranquilizer component. The swelling compressed vital brain structures and blood vessels, disrupting blood flow and oxygen supply to the brain. Cerebral edema can arise from various causes, including head injuries, strokes, brain tumors, infections, and metabolic disorders. Symptoms typically include headaches, nausea, vision problems, and mental state changes. In severe cases, it can lead to seizures, unconsciousness, and death. However, some believe Lee's death wasn't accidental. A persistent theory suggests involvement of the Chinese Triad, powerful criminal organizations with deep roots in Hong Kong's entertainment industry. According to these theories, Lee's refusal to pay protection money made him a target. The Chinese Triad's history dates back to the 17th century, originally forming as secret societies opposing the Qing dynasty. Over time, they evolved into organized criminal enterprises, particularly powerful in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan after the 1949 establishment of the People's Republic of China. Supporters of the Triad theory point to several suspicious elements: the presence of Betty Ting Pei and her allegedly inconsistent statements, the unusually quick conclusion of the death investigation, Lee's decision to start his own production company, potentially threatening established studios with Triad connections, the subsequent mysterious death of Lee's son Brandon years later. Jung's recent disclosures shed new light on Lee's character and final days. He shares stories of Lee's generosity as a mentor, including an incident where Lee handled a challenging movie extra with both skill and grace. According to Jung, Lee's approach to martial arts extended beyond physical technique to encompass diet, philosophy, and personal development. Bruce Lee's impact on martial arts and cinema remains profound. He challenged racial stereotypes in Hollywood, revolutionized martial arts choreography, and inspired countless followers. His sudden death at the height of his career only amplified his legendary status. The role of Hong Kong's complex political and social landscape cannot be ignored. The British colonial government's hands-off approach to certain areas, particularly the notorious Kowloon Walled City, allowed criminal organizations to flourish. During the 1960s, an estimated 1 in 6 Hong Kong residents had some connection to Triad groups. Today, the Triad's influence continues, though their operations have evolved to include money laundering, fraud, and human trafficking. The Hong Kong Police's Organized Crime and Triad Bureau estimates up to 100,000 active Triad members currently operate in Hong Kong. Despite decades of speculation and investigation, many questions remain. Why did the official investigation conclude so quickly? What was Betty Ting Pei's true role in the events? Could Lee's death have been prevented with better medical attention? Was there a broader conspiracy involving the entertainment industry and criminal organizations? Following Lee's death, Jung emerged as a prominent figure in martial arts cinema, maintaining the disciplined approach to physical training and diet that Lee had emphasized. His career serves as a living proof to Lee's influence and teachings. Whether one accepts the official explanation or suspects a darker conspiracy, Bruce Lee's death remains one of Hollywood's most intriguing mysteries. The timing of Bolo Yeung's revelations coming near the end of his own life adds new layers to this enduring enigma. The story of Bruce Lee's death continues to captivate audiences worldwide, reflecting our endless fascination with legendary figures who leave us too soon. Through Yeung's revelations, we gain not just new insights into Lee's final days, but a deeper appreciation for the complex world of 1970s Hong Kong cinema and the powerful forces that shaped it. As we reflect on these revelations, one question remains. Will we ever know the complete truth about Bruce Lee's death, or will it remain one of cinema's greatest unsolved mysteries? The debate continues, but Lee's impact on martial arts and entertainment remains undimmed, his legacy living on through those who knew him best, including his friend and co-star, Bolo Yeung.
Today's service was much quieter. The guests were admitted by invitation only, and there were only 200 of those sent out. A few fans without invitations showed up at the door, but they were quietly turned away.
In the shadowy world of martial arts legends, few stories have captured public imagination quite like the mysterious death of Bruce Lee. For decades, Chuck Norris, Lee's closest friend and training partner, maintained a stoic silence about the circumstances surrounding the Dragon's untimely passing. Now, after years of speculation, Norris has finally broken his silence, revealing shocking details that challenge everything we thought we knew about Lee's final days. The story begins in 1967 at the prestigious All-American Karate Championship in Madison Square Garden. Two rising stars of the martial arts world were about to cross paths in a moment that would change both their lives forever. Bruce Lee, already making waves with his groundbreaking Hong Kong films The Big Boss and Fist of Fury, watched from the sidelines as Chuck Norris dominated the competition. Despite their different backgrounds and styles, both men recognized in each other a kindred spirit, a dedication to martial arts that transcended mere physical combat. After the tournament, Lee approached Norris with an unusual proposition. "Don't you live in LA?" he asked. "I do too. Why don't we start training together?" This simple question would lead to one of the most legendary partnerships in martial arts history. Training in Lee's backyard became a daily ritual. It was here that both men would push each other to new heights of excellence. Norris, standing 5 feet 10 inches and weighing 160 pounds, was amazed by Lee's ability to generate incredible power from his compact 5 feet 7 inches, 140-pound frame. Within 6 months of their training sessions, Lee had mastered high kicks that rivaled Norris's own expertise, a technique he had previously dismissed as impractical. Their friendship reached its cinematic pinnacle in 1972 with Way of the Dragon. The film's climactic fight scene, set in Rome's ancient Colosseum, remains one of the most celebrated sequences in martial arts cinema. Shot over 3 grueling days, the 10-minute and 14-second fight showcased both men's extraordinary skills and their contrasting styles. The film, made on a modest budget of $130,000, would go on to gross over $130 million worldwide, becoming Hong Kong's highest-grossing film of 1972. But behind the scenes, Norris noticed troubling changes in his friend's behavior. In 1968, Lee suffered a devastating back injury during a routine exercise known as Good Mornings. The injury, a slipped disc, would prove to be a turning point in Lee's life. Determined to recover and prove himself stronger than ever, Lee threw himself into rehabilitation with characteristic intensity, often against medical advice. Norris watched with growing concern as Lee's regime became increasingly extreme. Bruce was taking handfuls of supplements and vitamins, Norris revealed. He would consume incredible amounts of protein, sometimes eating 10 eggs or 2 pounds of beef in a single meal. He was drinking gallons of water daily, convinced it would help flush toxins from his body. On July 20th, 1973, the mounting pressure would reach its tragic conclusion. While working on Game of Death in Hong Kong, Lee complained of headaches and dizziness. At the apartment of actress Betty Ting Pei, he took what seemed like a routine painkiller for his headache. Hours later, the unthinkable happened. Bruce Lee, the man who seemed invincible, was pronounced dead at the age of 32. During a recent martial arts exposition at San Diego Comic-Con, Norris finally shared his theory about what really happened to his friend. According to Norris, Lee's death wasn't simply the result of cerebral edema, as officially reported. Instead, it was a perfect storm of factors. Lee's allergic reaction to aspirin, combined with his extreme supplement regimen and excessive water consumption, created a lethal combination that his body couldn't handle. The heat stroke theory, proposed by biographer Matthew Polly, suggests a startling connection between Bruce Lee's death and a cosmetic procedure he underwent. According to Polly's research, Lee had his sweat glands surgically removed to prevent excessive sweating during film shoots. This seemingly minor decision may have had fatal consequences. In Hong Kong's intense heat and humidity, where temperatures often soared past 90 degrees Fahrenheit, Lee's compromised ability to regulate his body temperature through sweating put him at severe risk. This risk was compounded by his grueling training regimen, which involved hours of strenuous exercise. Just months before his death, Lee collapsed during a dubbing session for Enter the Dragon. While doctors diagnosed cerebral edema at the time, Polly suggests this may have been an early warning sign of heat stroke. On the day of his death, the combination of Hong Kong's sweltering weather, Lee's inability to sweat properly, and his use of medications that could mask heat stroke symptoms may have created the perfect storm that led to his tragic end. But not everyone accepts these explanations. Some theorists point to more sinister forces at work. The Hong Kong triads, notorious for their control over the film industry, allegedly saw Lee as a threat to their power. His refusal to pay protection money and his outspoken criticism of corruption made him powerful enemies. Some even suggest that Lee might have fallen victim to Dim Mak, the legendary death touch of martial arts lore. Perhaps the most chilling theory involves an ancient curse allegedly placed on the Lee family during the Tang dynasty. The curse, said to target male descendants, seemed to gain credibility when Lee's son Brandon died under equally mysterious circumstances in 1993 while filming The Crow. Chuck Norris, who had mentored Brandon after his father's death, was devastated by this second tragedy. Despite the enduring mystery surrounding his death, Bruce Lee's impact on martial arts and popular culture remains undisputed. His philosophy of Jeet Kune Do revolutionized martial arts thinking, emphasizing adaptability and personal expression over rigid tradition. Modern MMA champions like Conor McGregor cite Lee as an inspiration, and UFC president Dana White has called him the father of mixed martial arts. Bruce Lee's impact extended far beyond his physical prowess in martial arts. He was an intellectual who voraciously consumed philosophical works from diverse traditions, creating a unique blend of Eastern wisdom and Western thought. His personal library revealed the depth of his intellectual curiosity, featuring works by influential thinkers like Alan Watts, who bridged Eastern and Western philosophy, Carl Jung's psychological insights, and Friedrich Nietzsche's revolutionary philosophical ideas. Lee integrated these philosophical influences into his martial arts practice and teaching. He transformed traditional martial arts from mere combat techniques into a vehicle for personal growth and spiritual development. His approach to Jeet Kune Do wasn't just about fighting efficiency. It embodied his philosophy of breaking free from rigid traditions and finding one's authentic path. Chuck Norris, who witnessed Lee's philosophical evolution firsthand, understood that his friend's greatest contribution wasn't just his fighting skill, but his ability to revolutionize how the world viewed martial arts. As Norris poignantly noted, Lee was a phenomenon who forever changed martial arts perception globally. Despite his tragically early death at 32, Lee's philosophical legacy continues to resonate, inspiring practitioners to view martial arts not just as combat training, but as a transformative journey of self-discovery and personal liberation. Lee's integration of philosophy into martial arts helped elevate it from a purely physical discipline to a comprehensive path of self-development, influencing generations of practitioners and thinkers worldwide. The mystery of Bruce Lee's death may never be fully resolved, but through Chuck Norris's revelations, we gain a more complete picture of the man behind the legend. A warrior who pushed the boundaries of human potential, sometimes at great personal cost. As Lee himself once said, "The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering." By that measure, Bruce Lee achieved immortality long before his untimely death. Today, nearly 50 years after his passing, Bruce Lee's influence continues to grow. From the UFC octagon to Hollywood films, from philosophy to fitness, his impact resonates across generations and cultures. Through Chuck Norris's candid revelations, we not only gain insight into Lee's final days, but also a deeper appreciation for the complex, driven individual who forever changed martial arts and popular culture. As San Francisco prepares to erect a monument in his honor, and new generations discover his work through biopics and documentaries, one thing becomes clear: the dragon spirit burns as brightly as ever, transcending the mysteries surrounding his death to inspire future generations of martial artists, philosophers, and dreamers.
In the world of martial arts, few names carry as much weight as Bruce Lee. But beneath the surface of his legendary status lies a shocking truth about the extreme methods that forged his extraordinary abilities. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the dangerous and revolutionary training techniques that made Bruce Lee a legend. At just 135 pounds, Bruce Lee possessed strength that seemed to defy physics. His power-to-weight ratio was extraordinary, leading many to question how someone so lean could generate such explosive force. The answer lies in training methods so intense that they would make modern fitness experts nervous. Historical clips of Lee training.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Lee broke away from traditional martial arts doctrine in a controversial move that would change combat sports forever. While other martial artists avoided weight training, believing it would make them slow and inflexible, Lee embraced it. But with a twisted innovation that was uniquely his own. Lee's training philosophy was built on 4 dangerous pillars. 1. Maximum force generation through extreme isometrics. 2nd, explosive speed training at the edge of human capability. 3. Unconventional strength development. 4th, brutal endurance conditioning. But what made these methods truly revolutionary was how he combined them into a single, punishing system. Demonstration of isometric exercises. One of Lee's most controversial methods was his revolutionary approach to isometric training, pushing the boundaries of what many thought possible. He would spend grueling hours pushing against immovable objects